What's up, dude?
Not too much, man.
Haven't seen you. It's been a year or so, or long.
Yeah,
longer,
yeah.
I don't know.
The B&I, wherever that was.
Yeah,
I
the
always
business networking stuff.
show up and yell way too loudly and get all excited.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. So, I want to, like, you've always been a great guy to be around. Like, and I don't know you that well outside of just our run-ins, in the public doing networking stuff, business to business stuff.
Sure.
But I know I've referred people to you. I've talked to you about stuff. But never in like a setting like this. So I wanted to kind of just jump into it and hang out and get to know you, man, and really learn like how you got to where you're at and what you're doing now.
Sure.
Because not only are you an awesome person to hang out with, but you're a phenomenal guitar player. So
thank you.
And we're going to get some experience with that today too. But yeah, let's just jump all the way. Let's go back to the beginning, man. It's kind of wherever you want to let me in on.
Okay, so as you know, I own Hirsch Guitar Academy. That's my main thing. I'm over here on Texas Street between Airline and Industrial now. And I've been doing that full time since 2016. I've been moved a few different locations, but this one is my first commercial location. I've been there about a year and a half now. It's really awesome. I've got like 85 students at the moment, I think.
Nice,
so
dude.
Rocking and rolling. And before I did that, I think we were mentioning briefly before we started, you were saying, I was really well prepared, and that was a little unlike a lot of musicians tend to be. And the reason for that is I used to be an electrical engineer, before I went full-time music. So my degree's in electrical engineering. I did that, and just was bored sitting around the office all day, man. So I said, you know what, guitar's more fun. Let's do that.
How'd you get into electrical? Like, well, how did that happen?
So, I mean, that's what my degree's in.
But like, what made you chase that?
I'm really good at math. Really good at math.
You said, okay, well, how can I make money doing this?
Yeah, exactly. It's
cool.
like, so instead of going full math, I was just like, okay, math majors, I either go all the way to a doctorate and then be a professor and I guess get stuck in the college forever, or I don't make any money with a bachelor's degree. So I was like, okay, what's something that uses lots of math but I can make money? And it seemed pretty clear that engineering was the answer. And I mean, I loved it, man. School was awesome, like robots and doing, like I built a laser harp at one point. Like, man, school was great. School was incredible, but the actual job, I felt like I could have done that job before I finished 6th grade because it was just looking up graphs and that was it.
Yeah.
So I found that I probably just got the wrong job because I got buddies that got engineering jobs that loved it.
Yeah.
So I think I just ended up in the wrong job.
And engineering is real weird because it's so broad. I know multiple different engineers that do completely different things that have nothing to do with the same thing.
For sure.
When people hear engineer, they just think you just do one thing. You know, sometimes it's interesting how that works.
Yeah. No, yeah. Just with electrical engineering, you could do anything from designing the exact specifications of a battery pack to fit in a drone, all the way to like working on robotics, to working on medical equipment, to sitting in an office looking at graphs that you could have done when you were in 6th grade. So it could be, it's just all over the place.
Yeah. Well, how did you get into from that? Like, when did you decide to start doing the guitar thing, like as far as teaching, but also when did you start playing?
So I've been playing since I was 12, and what's really funny about that is it wasn't by choice. I was forced to.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So my parents told me basically I had to do, so I was homeschooled. That's another weird nerdy thing about me. But part of being homeschooled, I had to excel at my coursework, but I also had to do one sport and one instrument. And so going into music, the instrument that I chose at the time, because I love 80s rock. So I'm like Van Halen, Extreme, Def Leppard, Guns N' Roses, Ozzy Osbourne, just anything 80s rock, especially at the time, is just, I love it. And so I was like, okay, well, if I have to pick an instrument, I guess we'll do guitar. And then I had this image of, going in and learning all these awesome guitar solos and just being able to shred, from day one. I was super excited. I told all my friends about it. I was bragging. And then I get there and it's just like, I get to my first lesson, I'm gonna turn on my guitar. And it's just like, and that was all it was for like, that was all we did for like 6 months or something, was Ode to Joy, Row, Row, Row Your Boat, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And it's just like, man, super boring.
Yeah.
So I wanted to quit for the first 3 years that I played. And thankfully, my mom forced me to stick with it. I'm very grateful for that now. At the time I wasn't. But you know, and the day that I decided I wanted to do guitar is I was playing Guitar Hero 3. And I was playing on the highest difficulty. I was playing Cliffs of Dover by Eric Johnson, which is an obscure song that only people that have played Guitar Hero or guitar nerds know about. And it's a great song, though. My dad walks in from work as I'm finishing up the song, and I'm like, Dad, check it out. You know, trying to show off. I'm like 16 or something at the time. And my dad walks in, watches me finish the song, get the 5-star rating, you know, the high score, everything. And then he just kind of stops for a second, looks over at me, and he goes, too bad you suck in real life. And that minute, I was just like, I'm going to get really good at this thing.
Yeah.
And so I actually went and bought the sheet music for every song that was in the game and just practiced for 10 years till I could play every song in the game.
Really?
Yes.
So when you started taking like lessons or whatever, like how long did that last before you just like, screw this, I'm going to teach myself or do this myself?
No, I still have somebody that I'll go see. Any master classes with my guitar heroes that I can catch, I'll do. Like Greg Howe, he's not very. Most of the guys that I try to catch aren't like super well known in the public space just because they're like super crazy guitar players, and you know only the people in that space really know of them. But like Greg Howe's incredible. He briefly toured with Michael Jackson back in the day. They actually made him wear a wig because he was subbing for, I forget her name, but the chick that played with him for a while. Yeah. She I believe was going into labor. She was pregnant, and so they called him to come and do it, and they made him wear like a big blonde wig. It's just real funny. Anyway, that guy, Aaron Marshall, who plays with a more modern group called Intervals. Just stuff like that. So anytime I can, if I go to a show, I always will look to see if either it's already an option, like a VIP ticket or something, or I'll try to track down an email of the manager or the guitar player themselves and be like, hey man, what would it cost me to sit down with you an hour before the show and like pick your brain on some stuff and include like a clip of me playing so they know I'm not just like playing smoke on the water or something. Yeah. And so I still, any opportunity I can, try to learn. I've never stopped. And in that regard, I've never stopped taking lessons, you know. But
that's a whole nother level of learning, I guess.
Sure.
Versus like the sit down and trying to like the intro thing, I guess. I guess that was my question. Is like, what time wouldn't that stop? Like the mundane training.
Oh, just like
these chords.
Well, yeah, I got I've had I think 13 guitar teachers.
Okay.
So over the years,
so you just been rolling through the whole time.
Yeah, man. Like basically, anytime I felt like I had outgrown my current teacher, I would start looking for a new one.
They were like, dude, you're better than me. You need to go somewhere else.
Most of them would not do that blatantly. I had, I think, 2 or 3 of them just be like, yeah, man, I've taught you everything I can. You go on.
Yeah.
And so, you know, in that regard, like I said, I'd still be taking mundane lessons right now if there was somebody that I thought I could learn a lot from here in town.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
so how did you decide to go from like learning it, being coached it, and then decide to transition and actually teaching it yourself?
So, like I said, I was doing the full-time engineering thing. Yeah. And I was just really bored with it, and I got an ad. I don't know how they targeted me because this was back in 2014, and all the Facebook ads and all the targeting metrics weren't where they are now.
Right. Yeah.
So I have no idea. I think I got accidentally targeted, but I'm very glad because I got an ad for a guitar teaching seminar. So a seminar on how to teach guitar, and that ticket, it was like a 5-day event in Chicago, and it was like a $2,000, maybe $2,500 ticket to the 5-day event. And then, that did not include food and lodging and everything. But, at the time, I was an engineer and I was bored. And I was like, I got some money. Let's just, I can blow $4,000 on this and see what happens. So, and I took a risk, and I'm very glad I did because I learned a lot. And I realized looking at the other people, it's going to sound a little arrogant, but looking at the other people there that were already running pretty successful guitar businesses, only a few of them could play as good as I could.
Okay.
And so there's a big difference between being a good player and being a good teacher. And I know that more now than I did at the time. I like to think I'm both. But, there are some people who aren't good players that are phenomenal teachers.
Oh, yeah.
And vice versa. There are people who are phenomenal players that are awful teachers. So it kind of goes both ways. But at the time, all I saw was just like, oh wow, yeah, I can outplay all these people. Not all of them, but let's say 80% of them. And they're all teaching and they're doing this full time. So yeah. So basically I got home from that event, got an LLC, and in 6 months I had enough students to do it full time. And that's basically
what year was that?
That was in 2015.
You've been rolling since, because I bet you right around that time, like a year into it.
We met
or
in
something.
2016.
Yeah. And so, dude's come a long way since then, bro.
I have. Just rocking and rolling, man. You know, just keep trucking it. Basically, anything. You know, you put enough effort forward, you're gonna succeed. You're gonna get good eventually.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and then how did this band thing come to fruition?
The Barksdale Bubble?
Because that wasn't a thing, right? You weren't planning on being in a band when this started, huh? This was just like you're playing guitar as a hobby and you want to get really good at it.
Yeah. I like I said, I did it originally because my parents told me I had to.
Yeah.
And then from there, I did it because I wanted to prove something to my dad. And funny enough, like, he doesn't even remember that night. You know, like, to me, this is this like life-defining moment. To him, it's just like a random offhanded comment he said on a Tuesday night or something. So then that was my reason for getting good for a long time. And then I kind of got happy with where I was at once I could play all those songs. And then I got that event to start teaching, and just by teaching and being in it all the time, that caused me to continue to get good and to keep growing. And basically, after doing a lot of teaching, I just realized, like, you know, teaching is fun, but I have even more fun when I'm performing. Like, I love performing. I love performing live. I love coming up with weird ways to just kind of change a song, so that my favorite thing is to watch people, like, in the audience kind of go, I know that song, and like try to figure it out.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, this guy right here, I did this for the first time while I was in Hong Kong, actually. Wasn't supposed to play guitar there, it just kind of happened. But see about this one. So it's like, what is that, right? Like, it sounds familiar.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
I know the song, but I can't put my finger on it.
That's my favorite thing to do to people, man.
God.
Anyway, Eye of the Tiger, but as if it
What
was
made
like some
you
smooth
decide to do
jazz.
that one?
Yeah.
Dude,
Dude, it just kind of came out of me, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, that's my favorite thing to do, is to take songs, and you know, I could play them exactly like they're written, and there are definitely songs that you just got to do that, or else, you know, you're gonna get crucified by the crowd. Like, if you play Don't Stop Believin' and you do anything other than this when it's time for the guitar solo, like, I don't care how good you are. If you tread instead of playing that exact solo, people boo.
Yeah.
Like, there are certain things that, you know, people just they just really want to hear. And so that kind of stuff, I try to find a line. Like,
I feel like what would be a good example of that, in my opinion? Like, dude, I'm trying to think of like a really, like, what would be a really good one? Leonard Skinner or something, like Freebird or something like that. You can't do anything weird there.
Oh man, yeah. If you played Sweet Home Alabama, and you did anything other than, you know, that little out of tune, I'll fix that in a sec.
Yeah.
But if you do anything other than that exact riff, can't do it. Or
but what
like that.
made you, like? That's interesting too. Like, you're the most against the grain musician I've ever met. One, you're organized, your own time. You show up with all your equipment. You have a job. You have a successful business. You have a degree. like you're literally the polar opposite of, you know, anything there is to do. Is an example that I've ever met of a talented, you know, musician.
Man, I don't know. It's I guess just so I'm a guy that's really good at math, and got mad at the guitar, mad at my dad, and just kind of applied it, you know. Because when I play, I approach the guitar a bit differently from most really good guitar players I know. Because there are so many good guitar players in this town. Jen Janae, David Deaton, Jimmy Wooten.
Jimmy's been on. He's really good.
Yeah, just phenomenal guitar players in this town. And most of these guys that I've talked to, you know, when they're playing, they most of them can kind of have a melody already in their head, and they're kind of chasing that and going for it. I kind of think of the guitar almost mathematically, and it's a little different than most really good musicians, at least, because I know a lot of players that really fixate on scales and arpeggios and things like that, like I do, that know all that stuff, and they think kind of mathematically, but for whatever reason, a lot of times when you think in that way, the soul and the groove kind of gets lost.
Yeah.
Right?
I can see that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
so how do you make up for that?
I have no idea.
just play.
I have no idea. Yeah. I just, I'll play something, and then recording my album. So I do have an album on Spotify. It's a bunch of nerdy instrumental stuff. Most people would find it way too much guitar playing because there's no vocals. But when I recorded that over the course of COVID, 2019 and 2020, and when I recorded that, and I would just listen to myself back over and over and over, I realized that a lot of the stuff that I played was less groovy and less cool than it could be. And just hearing yourself play over and over and over like that kind of, I guess, forced me to get a little more melodic. And I still can go completely into the technical, where I'm just like, where's the soul in something like, just like shredding, and it's just sometimes it's really fun to take a song like Hotel California and just completely ruin it.
Oh god, well, I gotta hear this.
Yeah. So like,
let's go.
You could just be like, take the part at the end where it's like that part,
Yeah.
One of the coolest parts of the whole song. Everyone loves that. I like to do things like, let me see if I can find a place to sing. I gotta reach higher up on this neck here, so.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And I think stuff like that is super cool from a technical perspective, and it's really cool even to most people in small doses.
Yeah, because it still fits. You're fitting it in there.
Yeah,
you're able
you
to
hear the chords.
You're putting your art into it.
Sure, but if that's all you do, and because that's very much kind of the mathematical approach I was saying. I'm seeing, instead of trying to think, okay, what's a melody, what's a solo, I literally just have these chord shapes memorized, where this chord from the beginning of the song is the same as this chord. So I just play that really, really fast, and then the next chord.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just knowing the guitar really, really well at that point, and just executing what you know extremely fast, right? And that's what I mean by kind of the mathematical pattern-based approach. And I find that if you do that in short amounts, it's really cool. It can be a showstopper moment to put that somewhere in a guitar solo where you just let loose. And because that was not quite, but close to about 24 notes per second. And that's my all-time record is 24.37. I used to be an engineer. I measured it. So it's really cool to like see that amount of technicality for a small period of time. But if you listen to something like that for more than 10 to 20 seconds, it just starts sounding like a pinball machine when you hit a bumper or something. It just kind of, And so finding, and that's where I think the art comes in, is finding where the mathematical side, the pattern side, because at the end of the day, intervals, they're just frequencies, and frequencies are just a number of hertz, and it's all just physics. but finding where you play really, really fast and where to kind of lay back and groove, and that's an ongoing journey. I still think I overplay half the time, but
that's my next question. How did you learn to start playing with other people singing other instruments? Because if you've just to think for me, like just playing guitar by yourself the entire time and then trying to transition to playing with the band with multiple people and knowing that people probably don't have the same views of how you play and things like that. Like how do you collaborate and make it that successful?
So that's a good question. If you figure that out, let me know. No. So that is a fun one. So I started by, way before I played with anybody, I would just, play with backing tracks on YouTube. And, backing tracks are not the real thing. Too many people, I think that playing with people will be exactly the same as backing tracks. But it's a good step towards playing with people. And that helps a lot to use backing tracks. Whether you're playing a new song that you've learned, well, find a backing track with the original guitar removed and see if you can play along with it. Or pull up a random YouTube video where there's, just it gives you a key and then you improvise a solo over it, stuff like that. And so that was the first thing. I did that for years and years and years. And then when I was in college, I'd find other buddies of mine that played instruments and we jam, just pretty normal. Finding other people who play music. Way before I was a teacher, I would jam with other people.
Okay.
And lots of fun. But I definitely was a little kind of in my own sphere there for a little bit because all my buddies were also engineers, physicists, mathematicians, and so we all kind of thought of guitar the same way. And anybody that I knew that could play at an intermediate or above level also knew either all or most of the theory that they were using when they play. And I did not realize that was abnormal, because a lot of times when people play, and there's nothing wrong with this, 90% of people just want to have fun when they play. Nothing wrong with that at all, If you just want to look up a tab and kind of copy what it says or strum some chords.
That's how we learned. Yeah. Like it was printing out tabs before there was like a YouTube tutorial.
Yeah, way back when Ultimate Guitar was brand new. Yeah, same. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But what my experience was, being in the math and science side of things, was basically me and all my buddies, just we wanted to know how it worked. So we knew all the theory. And I remember the first time I went to a normal jam session, quote normal, with just like other just people from all over the city. I went and I show up. This was maybe 2018.
Where'd you go?
It was one of the Red River Brew Pub jams.
Okay, gotcha.
Back
cool.
when they were
when they used to do Sunday Jam when Jim Walsh and them were there.
Yes,
hell yeah, dude.
It was awesome. R.I.P.
Jim, bro. R.I.P. to Jim. Yeah.
They and then now they got him over at the Savage.
Yeah,
great jam. So many good players.
Dirty Red and them. Yeah.
But I did not realize, I guess, how I guess I didn't realize how most guitar players communicate just with like, okay, so it's roughly this, and then they'll just kind of play power chords over it. So I remember the first jam I went to, I'm pretty confident in my abilities, and I said, okay, I'll just sit in, y'all just tell me what you want to play and I'll play with y'all. And they said, no, your name's on the list, so you get to decide what we play. And I'm like, I just want to jam. Like we can just do whatever. And they said, no, pick something. And I was like, okay, well, let's do a jam on C major 7 no 5 to B minor 7 no 5 to E suspended 2 add 11 over B to, and I'm not trying to flex, man. I'm just like coming up with a chord progression, and I just looked over, and the other guitar player was just kind of looking at me like, what? And I was like, okay, C B E G D. Yeah. And and kind of because the chord progression that I had in my head, right, is actually now from one of my songs. I ended up using it for one of those songs on my album, but it's this right here to here. So it's a really pretty chord progression. It's And so all of those crazy words and things I was saying are very important to create that sound, because if you play those with just normal chords, right? So if you play C to B minor to E minor to G to D, you kind of get a similar vibe, but it's you lose a lot.
Yeah,
you lose a lot from compared to. Right, and that's something that I'll tell a lot of my students is, at the end of the day, if it sounds good, it is good. But if you really want to take it as far as you can, you need to learn the language, right? Because in my opinion, once you've got your basics down, if you are just kind of memorizing tabs and that's it, then that to me would be like learning a poem in Japanese, but not knowing what the words mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with doing that in music if all you want to do is kind of mimic one of your favorite songs or play it just for your own personal enjoyment. Nothing wrong with that. But if you want to kind of move as far as you can with the instrument, then it helps to know, oh yeah, so this is going to be, using the fourth shape of the pentatonic scale, or this is using, it kind of goes to like a Lydian kind of vibe there, or, all these scary music theory words. It's good to know what they mean and what they can do for you. Yeah,
no, I mean, that makes sense. I think that it's interesting because I have no idea what any of that means.
Sure.
I just know a few basic chords, and I never really played more than that, but it was always like, when we learned how to play, it was like, I want to learn how to play Metallica. So it was just all Metallica stuff. It was like tabs on Metallica.
Yeah,
let's learn all these. And then, then I started like really wanting to learn blues. So it's just like you're just doing a lot of sliding and chord progression and stuff. I mean, in my opinion, I don't even know if I'm using the right terminology, but you know what I mean.
You can play the blues all day with just.
And I love that shit.
That's all you need.
I love that shit. Like if you give me like anything, Tab Benoit, I think he's amazing. I don't know if you're a fan. I fucking love Tab Benoit. And that was my first introduction to like someone that plays the blues but can fucking shred. Like that was that's the first person. I mean, like Jimi Hendrix is similar style, but still, when I was like, that's blues, but also, dude, he can fucking jam, and he could probably play with some of the good guys, you know. And then like Gary Clark Jr., like stuff like that. Then I just was like, okay, well that's the sound I like from a guitar, but a lot of it's still that blues based stuff, and then they just go into super technical stuff like you're doing that I don't know what to do.
Yeah, no, there's tons of guitar players, especially today, that know their stuff inside and out, or they just have their ears so good that they seem like they know their stuff inside and out. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, which way that is, because at the end of the day, really all that matters is does it sound good or not.
Yeah.
If you can be the biggest brain theory nerd that there is. But if you can't compose a song that kind of grooves and sounds good, it doesn't matter, Yeah.
What's the longest you've played, like, completely through without stopping? I know you probably have to have timed this before. You seem like a guy.
I actually have never timed it.
You should do that.
Just see how long I
Next time we do this, I'm like, hey, man, tell me how long you played.
How long was it? I would not be surprised, though, if it was 5 or 6 hours.
That's insane, dude. That's fucking insane.
I don't know that for sure. Like I said, I haven't timed it. But I remember there were a couple of days back when I was writing that album where I just, you just get in the zone, where you ever do something where you're there and you're all in and you're not thinking about anything else and you're just kind of going and going and going. And I definitely had a day like that once. I remember there was one Sunday, I'm sure I stopped to go to the bathroom. That's why I said 5 or 6 instead of 12. But there was absolutely a Sunday during that where I spent 12 hours just recording stuff. And that was my whole day. Because like I said, I had this song idea in my head, and I had to record it. And when you get to something like that, it's just so it's so cool, whether it's guitar or any other discipline. For some people, like I've got friends that love working out, and they'll just go hard for like hours, and it's just something about it. But I found myself, basically I had this idea in my head, and I was sick. I was on the couch for a week just with my acoustic guitar, just like laying there and just messing around, came up with some cool ideas. And so once I was feeling better, that was that Sunday. I just had to get all the ideas recorded. and it is the fastest I've ever finished a song, and it's also one of the songs that most non-musicians like, because most of the time I'm a shred guy. Like I love playing fast, and I want it to be melodic, and I want it to sound good, but I love shredding. This song is so different than most of the stuff that I would come up with. So it's a clean song, which is already different, but something like this. Something like that, it's a lot prettier than I guess what I would normally play, and that and weird, you get the weird chords in there, like. So even though I'm a shred guy, sometimes it's just like it's really nice to kind of experiment with the prettier side of things, the jazzy stuff, things like that. Like I said, at the end of the day, if it sounds good, it's good.
How does it translate? Like you saying you're playing in Japan, how does that translate? Is everything still exactly the same as how they read music? And I don't know anything about that.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Are
like
we looking
I said,
at that? How does that translate? Like,
actually, music, that's universal.
Right, but like the chord names and
I would assume that they all of the notation and everything like that is still the exact same. So when I was over there, the point actually wasn't to play music. I was actually the Hong Kong thing I was talking about was a return flight from Thailand. I was actually training Muay Thai for a month.
Dude, we got to talk about that too.
I was about to say, I know you like MMA and stuff.
Because you were training at Tankhead.
I was.
Right, and I was at Karate Mafia for 10 years. So
yeah.
Holy shit, I forgot about that. Yes.
But that whole trip, that wasn't even music. That was for Muay Thai.
So you went to, dude, so I wanted to go so bad, but I could never rope in enough people to go. Everybody was talking shit and like, yeah, we'll go. And it's really inexpensive to go. But to get someone to set apart 2, 3, 4 weeks to go, just like you can't get nobody to do it. And I was down. I was like, and I never could get anyone to, and then to kind of just life happened, and I just never got over there.
Yeah, dude, I 100% recommend it if you can ever make it happen. It was a lot easier when I went because I was single at the time.
Yeah. I mean that's me too. I'm saying we're early 20s talking about it. You know what I mean? Like I was single then, and it was like it was a thing that you're just trying to get all your buddies together. We can make it happen. You know?
Yeah. I went with my coach for 1 week, and then he left, and I just stayed. Yeah. I just stayed there, and I'm glad I did. It was a blast, man.
Dude, and Gallon, right before they opened the gym, or maybe right after they started, they would come and do some training with us and taught us a lot of stuff. I remember, like, I learned a lot of Muay Thai, just basics that we weren't implementing because we were doing more American kickboxing based, and then adding in wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and then Gallon would come in and show some traditional Muay Thai stuff. So, yeah, dude. Mad respect to him. I don't know, what's he doing these days? Is
he moved to Denver.
Okay.
Golly. I can't remember if it was before or after COVID. It was around that time.
Okay, yeah, because I probably haven't seen him, and it's been a long time,
Yeah, my buddy Logan was also training there for a while. Then he went to Thailand even longer than I did. I think he went for a few months, and he actually had a pro fight over there. And he won.
No shit.
So he's 1-0 in pro Muay Thai in Thailand.
Yes. Fuck yeah. What was it like training there? Because I've talked to a couple people that went, really enjoyed it, but what was your experience?
So real quick, I want to finish plugging my buddy Logan because he opened up his own Muay Thai school.
For sure.
So like if anyone wants to do any kind of Muay Thai, 81's Fight Club, check it out. But my experience in Thailand was awesome. It's I would probably say the single most physically exhausting, physically exerting thing I've ever done in my life. Like, I remember the first day I was there, I told the dude, because we trained for hours at a time, and it was intense. It wasn't like, do a couple kicks, I can't talk, do a couple kicks, do a couple punches, and then just, hang out. No, it was go the whole time. And the first day I was there, they had me, after I was worn out, I was like, I can't throw another punch. Then they had me get into a wheelbarrow position, so like holding myself up like a push-up, and someone else had my feet, and I don't know how the dude was half my size, little Thai guy, but he was holding my feet up, and then he had me do push-up jumps all the way down the mat, all the way back, like 4 times, and I had burns on my face from where my hand stopped supporting, and the guy was just still going. He's just pushing. He doesn't care if I'm actually doing the hops or not. So that was so insane, and everything's outside, and it's super humid.
Yeah.
And I remember the first couple nights I was there, I was waking up in the middle of the night dehydrated, even though I was drinking just like 2 liters of water before, a liter or 2 during, and then another 2 to 3 liters after. Didn't matter because you were just sweating so much. I had to start using electrolyte supplements and stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah, and you have a good build for it too. You're tall, and
that's why I do Muay Thai and not BJJ, dude. Yeah, dude. Anybody takes me to the ground, I'm done.
Yeah, well, dude, that's how it was for Muay Thai, especially if I was sparring with someone weight or kickboxing or anything, dude. My build's just not the best for that, but really good techniques, man. There's a lot of great, like, if you are well rounded in those things, but that being one of the stand up bases, like boxing's great, but if you can implement that traditional Muay Thai in there too, dude.
100%.
I mean, it's hard to fuck with you standing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was, I always get excited. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, I think we talked about that in passing before.
Yeah.
And just went to the wayside.
It's been a while, though.
Yeah. Yeah, so are you still doing any of that? Or?
I do not, unfortunately. So like I said, my buddy Logan's got his new gym, and I did that briefly, but where I'm at right now, I just had my first kid.
Congrats.
So thank you. She's about to be 17 months old, and I just found myself, basically stressing for time between making sure I'm still getting my own guitar practice in, making sure that I'm still running my business, making sure that I'm learning songs for the band. I just, unfortunately, and then what was really the nail in the coffin is the construction, because I live in Shreveport. Logan's gym is either, I think technically it's still Bossier, but it's just about Houghton.
Yeah.
And I just, man, it was taking me basically 2 hours out of my day just driving. Yeah. Not even the time I was at the gym. And unfortunately, I couldn't justify that. But once the construction clears up, or I figure out a way to make money while I sleep, I'm back.
Dude, I know exactly how that feels, dude. It's like my thing now is just like we do some dude. I'm pretty heavy into CrossFit because I can go do that. My wife and I and a group of us, we can kind of get together and do that around all our schedules. Yeah. And like the training's intense, but it's a lot of times it's less than an hour. Yeah. And it's just really, really intense for less than an hour. And so you're not having to do, coordinate classes and all that. Right. And that's what I've kind of fell into the past couple of years. But I do miss fight training, dude, but I say it that way because it always results in me getting into a fight camp and fighting, and it just at this point at 35 years old, it's just not in my cards anymore, dude. I'm like, why? I'm not doing this for pro. I'm not trying to be in the UFC. So it's just like, okay. And every time I try to start back doing it, I get bit by the bug, and next thing I know, I signed up for a fight. I'm just like, I can't do this anymore, dude. I'm just gonna talk to people about it, hang out, say, I remember, I'm gonna be one of those guys. I used to do so and so. You know what I mean? I remember this, or commentate fights. That's always fun. But trying to be at arm's length from it, but not getting too close to where I get wrapped up in thinking that I still can compete. You know what I mean?
Man, that's actually one of my regrets is I never did a fight. I think at one point I was more than good enough to. I think I would have done a really good job. Yeah. But now I'll never know because I just never did it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just glorified sparring, man. It's just a lot more adrenaline. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like it'd be tough if all you've done is sparring. I feel like it'd be tough to take off the, I guess, the restraints. Because
that's a good point.
When you spar, you almost train holding back, so you don't injure your sparring partner.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think it. We did some dumb shit. We would go 80%. We were stupid, but yes, I agree because if you're actually doing it correctly, you should be sparring it. 30, 40, 50%, learning from each other, working on things, not beating the shit out of each other. Right. But there was always that one asshole that would come in the gym that would check somebody, or something like that.
That guy you go all out on.
You probably know one of those guys I'm talking about. One comes to mind right now that was across a few gyms. But yeah, dude, that doesn't happen often. So, that would be something that does make sense. And I would see where that, but I mean, my experience is if you spar, even if you spar in another gym you're not used to sparring in, that's a slight feeling of a fight, you know, because you're in somewhere you're not comfortable. It's different. It's a stranger. The people in the gym are different. They may be judging you. You don't have a support group, you know.
Yeah.
So that changes it. But yeah, dude, that's great, man. I think, hey, dude, get back in there and start hitting pads or something.
Absolutely. So you didn't find it to be a huge change when you went and did a fight? You didn't find it hard to turn off the restraint?
No, because I was so worried about losing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It changes everything. I think it was, and dude, I've lost more than I won in boxing, and I'm 2-2 in MMA. But the losses, I immediately knew as soon as it happened. It was all submission things. You know, it was just like I got caught in this. I knew I'm not getting out. I'm not going to be a dumbass and let him choke me completely out unconscious. Let's just stop. It's basically you got me, dude. You got me, bro.
Sure.
It's never been like a KO, you know, or anything like that. But yeah. My ego was so fragile back then that like my goal was I want to fucking win.
Yeah.
So I think I was so nervous about not winning that overtook everything.
Sure.
And so that's the wrong way to be. Then later in years when I had the last one, I was almost too calm that it freaked me out. Like I didn't even care. Like I was just like, I went so hard in this training camp.
Yeah.
I was fighting for a buddy of mine who passed away, and he was supposed to fight, and then I just ended up taking the fight on 2 months' notice, and I hadn't trained in 6 years. Like, not fight, actual train for fight, just had been nonchalantly going to the gym.
Sure.
You know, 3 or 4 times a month.
You
know.
found like the Zen mastery.
Yeah, I just was like, and then I got in touch, lost all my weight, got like probably the best shape I've ever been in for a fight, and then went out there and didn't even care because it was like, I got into this ring and I'm here because, you know, he's not, and I'm here, and it doesn't even matter anymore. This dude's like, this dude I'm fighting, who cares, you know, whatever. So that changed, but I think that's just maturity in doing it so long.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
There was no ego anymore. It wasn't like I got to fucking win this fight, you know. And I actually got submitted in that fight. I got caught in a triangle. I was doing really well, had him on the ground, and I just got excited and immediately got my arm trapped, and it was a wrap, and I was like, fuck. But I wasn't upset. Any other time I'd be so upset and like going home and writing a post 2 pages long to apologize, you know, just stupid shit. You know how fighters do. Fighters lose. Like, dude, it's tell old tale when you see the fighters, they lose, and it's just like this whole explanation why you lost. I'm like, dude, you lost. It is what it is. Like, you don't need to give us an explanation. It 100%. Is what it is. But I didn't have that feeling. I was like, okay, well, this is my last hoorah. I want to do one before I'm 30, you know. And yeah, man. So long answer to your question is, at that point in my life, when I was early in it, yes, I could turn it off because I was trying to win.
Gotcha.
You know, and then the last part, I think it was just a matter of, well, I got all the way to here, and we'll see who is better in this 3 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what I got to where, though, I guess it's part of growing up. Like, I'm like, this is not. I used to do this because I thought it was cool and I wanted to be a badass.
Yeah.
And then once you start hanging around a bunch of other badasses, it's not really, you're not a badass anymore. You're just, hey, you're better at this one thing. Kind of like guitar, maybe. You're better at this one chord and you can articulate your fingers better than me. So you double down on that, you know, and that's the way it went.
Absolutely.
And then I got to where I'd feel like, well, man, I'm just a monkey in a cage now. And this is just for what? For entertainment.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like what it used to. And I think that kind of changed my perspective on everything.
I got you.
But I still love it. I still love to watch it.
There's something to be said about doing it just for the discipline and the self-mastery. Yeah. You know, and that's a big part of what appeals to me about, you know, martial arts in general, is just the people who are masters at it have just mastered so much of their own, you know, their bodies, their mindset, because you have to be able to kind of be chill while people are throwing stuff at you, you know, because if you get angry or if you get too mad, you're gonna start missing the timing because all you want to do is go in and hit somebody.
Well, that was always the conversation when people, I think when I had, countless, I don't know how many boxing fights, a bunch of amateurs and like a bunch of amateur boxing fights, I'd say like 20 or whatever, but they were all like weekend stuff, Golden Gloves, all that. I don't count those as real actual matches where thousands of people are there. In my opinion, it's not. It's just like a glorified sparring match, in my opinion. But like, you would just notice that that's not, I don't know, man, it's not definition of what you're really seeking or chasing. And also, I don't know, it progressed into something, like I said, where I was more like trying to focus on getting better here and there. But you would have conversations with people, like they're like, oh, you know, like in a scenario outside of a ring where they're like, oh man, I just see red, you better watch out. Dude, that's That's
a good way.
I'm scared for you.
Yeah.
That
That's a good
may
way
work
to
if
get
you're
hit.
as a bunch of you drunk people in the crowd. That might work, but buddy, if you just see red and black out, I'm very calm and calculated, and when you swing those haymakers, I'm gonna slip and kick
you just kind of do that. And
all that yelling and screaming and red face stuff doesn't work anymore, man. But it is interesting. But I did find myself, the further and further I got down that road, and especially looking back now, I found myself more self-disciplined in scenarios where I would be like, dude, I really want to hit this person. Then I'm like, why? Yeah, why? Like, why to get arrested, to cost me a bunch of money, to prove that for a second I'm better than you in one particular thing. You may be better than me in 50 other things. Like, what does it matter? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's just part of growing up, dude.
100%.
10 years ago, if I'd have heard myself saying that, I'd be like, you pussy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, same. Like when I was talking earlier about sometimes it's fun to do the melodic stuff and the pretty stuff, dude. 10 years ago, all I wanted to do was play Megadeth and Metallica and shred as fast as I could. And I still like that. But, it's like knowing where things are and like just accepting, like, why does it matter who's the fastest guitar player? Or why does it matter that you could beat that guy up?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing. It's about growing up and maturing and realizing, like, ego's overrated, It's good to be confident, but there's a big difference between being confident and, having to make sure everyone knows you're the best.
Yeah, I think you have to tote that line, especially when you become in a position of authority. Yeah. Like now you're in a position of authority where people look up to you and look for you for advice, counseling, training. Sure. And it's like, I can't have that same mindset anymore because every single word that comes out of my mouth is now influence.
Yeah.
And how do I want to influence these people?
Yeah, for sure.
What is something you love most about, like, I guess playing versus teaching?
So playing, man, this, it's funny because I was just talking about how maturing and getting rid of the ego and everything, but I'm not going to lie to you, dude. When you got a crowd of a few thousand people,
it's different, man.
And you're shredding and you know that you're on fire. You know you're hitting every note and people are getting into it and they're cheering and dude, that is so intoxicating. It's so it's like it's next level. It's hard to describe. It's that is my favorite part of playing live, is honestly just when you've got a crowd that's into it and that the band is doing good and the crowd's responding and it's just awesome. Now that said, many lives have been wasted chasing that.
Yeah.
And I love it when it happens, but I do my best not to always, have that as the only thing that I care about, which is hard sometimes because, like I said, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, it's intoxicating. Yeah.
But as far as teaching goes, one of my favorite things about teaching is when I have a student. Funny enough, it's usually the students who don't enjoy it at first, like myself. So I have one kid comes to mind where he wouldn't practice. He clearly didn't care about the guitar when he was there for the first few months of his lessons. And dude, I literally was this close to going and telling his parents, no hope, pull him, like go. I've done that to students before. I don't want parents to waste time and money if I can help it. But if I see the potential, or if I think that there's a way to make the student start taking it more seriously, I do my best. So what I did with this kid was I started using video game music and having him do like riffs and things from video games. And he went from just not practicing and doing nothing to one of the best students I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah. It was awesome. So something like that, like figuring out a way.
You created something that he would, like, taking what he is interested in implementing into that.
Yeah. So, and then knowing, and now he's in New Orleans studying music full time, and knowing that he went from basically starting lessons with me of the mindset of my mom's forcing me to do this, I'm going to quit as soon as I can, which again, very reminiscent of my own kind of start. Knowing that he went from that to loving the instrument almost as much, if not more, than I do. He already can play acoustic guitar better than I can, which is awesome. He can't quite shred as fast as me yet, but you know, like I was saying, who cares? You know, he's a very good little player. He's done stuff in 5 or 6 years of playing that I couldn't do till I'd been playing 15 or 16 years. And seeing that and knowing that I was able to help somebody else maximize their potential as fast as possible, that appeases the old engineering aspect in me. You know, I'm like, oh yes. And it's just really cool to see somebody else succeed at such a high level especially when they at first were almost with somebody I was ready to give up on, you know. And that stuff like that reminds me that most of the time when it comes to any skill, it's not a matter of whether you can do it, it's a matter of whether you can put the effort into it.
Yeah.
You know. And so for kids, a big part of that is as a teacher is taking responsibility for how do I make them enjoy it so they don't realize that they're putting the effort into it. You know, how can I make
especially if they already have like a chip on their shoulder about having to be there when they're it's wasn't their idea or whatever.
Yeah. And so like I don't succeed with every student. There are still students I get that I can't figure out how do I get this student to like the guitar just as much or more than Roblox or whatever the current game is. But when I can figure out whatever that secret is and help them and give them something that they're now going to be good at and be able to enjoy for the rest of their life, that's really awesome.
It sounds like there's a lot of association between kids that play video games and that play guitar. Is that a thing?
I think just all kids play video games now.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we played them.
I play video games.
We played them, but I don't, our access to them wasn't as
sure.
It was like limited time.
Absolutely.
Like, it was like, hey, and also we didn't have access to internet, so that creates completely unlimited time because at any given time there's somebody to play now.
Yep.
Whereas now it's like we're playing GoldenEye trying to get our buddies together. You know what I mean? Like, and that was like maybe a once a month thing. If you're lucky to get 4 people in the room, at the same time where mom and dad will let you come hang out and all that, and then you only get an hour or two.
Right. Well, and I absolutely, resonate with that. It's hard to get the buddies over to play. I think at one point in high school, it was happening maybe once a week for me. So, I mean, still really fun, really good. Halo 2, peak gaming, man.
Yeah, we would do that. I would have buddies that would come over. I wasn't a really big gamer at that time of my life, but my buddies were. And so we'd drink and play, like, and hang out and watch. We'd watch UFC. And if we weren't watching that, we were playing, like, the UFC game, or we were playing Halo or whatever. That was like I guess that was like the modern day GoldenEye for us,
Yeah, that was Halo 2 was when I was in high school because I'm a little younger than you are.
How old are you?
31.
Okay, so I was got you. Yeah, because I was already like probably 18, 19, and a couple of buddies, I would give them shit about playing video games. So like, dude, I'm grown. I'm having to work a real job. Y'all are over here like,
what are you doing?
Trying to go, acting like you're going to college, and then at my house playing video games. But then I come on and play with them too.
Sure.
So
well, it's a good time. It's a lot of good fun. But I know. For me, I was limited to only an hour a day was what I was allowed to play when I was growing up. That's what my parents kind of capped me at.
Yeah.
Unless we were going out of town, then I could play my Game Boy while we were in the car and whatever. But I think there's a lot to be said, not just for video game music for students, but also just like video game music, especially from that era, from the 90s and 2000s. Video game music, pretty good stuff, man. Like Zelda, Final Fantasy, Pokemon. Like,
where do they find it? Like, how does that happen? Like, where do they like?
They just get them. They have
access to these
composers,
and they just get together and say, "Hey, I want this sound," and they shop it out.
Dude, no, get this. I dropped my tape. There it is. There is a piece of sheet music floating out there with Koji Kondo's name. Koji Kondo is one of Nintendo's main composers. He did all of the Marios and stuff like that. But there's a piece of sheet music out there with Koji Kondo's copyright, or I guess writing credit on it, that's for this. That little, every time you get a coin, there it is. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. Every time you get that coin in Mario, even though it was computer generated, every single time that sound effect is triggered, that's considered to be its own piece of music. And so that dude, if he hasn't made bank by now from having like every sound effect was considered a piece of music. And so those composers, whoever those composers were, in this case Koji Kondo, getting in at the ground level, man.
Yeah, and there's probably, I can't even think of it right now, but there's as soon as you hear it's just like a song. As soon as you hear that, you're like, oh, that was from that game, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But
dude,
I can't remember off the top of my head, but
like,
let's go.
everyone knows. Oh, where'd my volume go?
There we go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Like, even if you never played a video game in your life, you know the Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
For me, it's. Let's see if I can even play this on guitar. This is a tough one. It's supposed to be on piano, but anyway, that guy.
What's that from?
That is the prelude that plays during the opening credits or the menu screen for every Final Fantasy game, from like Final Fantasy 1 all the way up through.
That's one game I never played, dude.
Oh, dude,
I never
love
played
Final
it.
Fantasy.
I think the people that, I guess, I want to say, isn't that game like super? You got to have some time invested to play that. Is it like a? Is
It's
it like
a long game. Yeah, every single one of them is a
The
long
longest game I ever
game.
played, like when I was younger, was like Zelda. Like when it went to 64, it was like
Ocarina of
the
Time.
coolest shit I'd ever seen in my entire life, and it would literally consume me. And then past that, I never really ran into stuff like that, and it was like until it was like Fallout and like Red Dead Redemption and stuff. But
Good
that's
stuff.
a little different. That wasn't as. Those are more like. Zelda, what you literally have a journey, but like those games, you could pick and choose what you wanted to do. You know?
No, Final Fantasy, like some of them aren't as long, maybe 20 to 30 hours, which I mean, it's a long time. But like the most recent one, I'm not gonna lie, the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth that came out earlier this year. I'm a Final Fantasy VII fanboy. I love Final Fantasy VII, so I played that, and I think I logged 130 hours into that game. It was a huge game, man. It was awesome.
I think I might have been telling Josh about this, but like my son got the Game Boy or no, the DS or whatever, but they got the Pokemon games, and they're pretty much just repurposed the same with different characters, same thing. And I was like, I'm gonna play this one weekend. And I think at the time my wife was still full-time police officer, and like she was gone. I'm just like, I'm just going to do it. And I had the kids, and like they were doing whatever. And I was like, I'm going to see how long it takes me to beat this thing real quick. And I'm just going to run through it but do it differently now that I know everything. I haven't played it in 20 years.
Yeah.
So I pulled it up and I play it, and I'm just like, okay, I'm dead set on just running through it and doing it as quick as I can and beating it, not trying to get super, romantic about what creatures I have and stuff. And dude, I think I logged like 12 hours, and I was like, holy shit. I didn't even finish it. I put it down. I was like, there's no fucking, like, I don't have the time of the day. And the fact that I just put 12 hours out of like 2 weeks of into that, I'm like, no, dude, I just can't do it. But
100%.
like, it's insane how long those like games that are like storyline like that can go, and how much time you can put into them.
Oh yeah. I didn't realize how much time I put in that game until my PlayStation told me. I was like, because that was right before I went to bed. I'd put an hour or two into that every night for a while. Yeah.
And probably wanted to keep playing. You're like, shit, I got to work tomorrow.
I gotta
say something. That's what's so addicting about those things, is they stimulate you so much. I could see how it could be a problem for children this day and age to constantly be stimulated by something like that and have access to it all the time.
Yep.
And to be able, and then to be, if they don't have someone making them stop themselves enough to re-enter the real world and still operate efficiently. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, no, I've seen that a lot from kids, and it's really hard to be good with delayed gratification, right? Even like I struggle with that too.
Yeah,
and
of course, we all want instant if we can get it.
But yeah, instant gratification. But when it comes to mastering the skill, which from doing martial arts, but it's with guitar, anything, you have to put the time in over a long period of time. You're gonna suck at first. You're not gonna be incredible the first time you try to play, and a lot of kids struggle with that. I don't know if it's just because of the video games are so stimulating. I didn't like guitar when I first started. I like to think it's because of the way that I was taught, the Ode to Joy, the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, stuff like that. When I teach, I try to use real guitar songs that were meant to be played on a guitar and not, an orchestra or something. Because don't get me wrong, Ode to Joy, the end of Die Hard, when the dude's falling to his death, that's hype.
Yeah.
That's hype with the full orchestra.
Yeah.
Gah. But on a single guitar, It's the lamest thing ever, man.
It's like playing. I think the first one I learned was like "Smoke on the Water."
Yeah, well, but see, that's a real guitar song.
Make that a badass song.
That's
like,
a real guitar song.
Yeah, yeah.
I would consider that way cooler.
Okay, yeah,
yeah, because I mean, like,
but still, it was boring. You know,
this
you could make it fun. I'm sure. Oh yeah.
Versus.
Hell yeah.
Like, come on. That's way cooler.
Yeah. But that was interesting to me because my buddy, I didn't have a guitar yet. My buddy had one. I think we were like 7th grade. And he had an electric guitar and he got an amp and a pedal. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And so I learned how to first play on electric. And I felt like that was easier than going to acoustic for me.
Yes.
And then I went to acoustic, and now I haven't touched an electric guitar in probably 10 years. I bought some and had some, but never really played them anymore because I didn't have I wanted the right pedal and all, and just never did any of that. But I kept going back to the acoustic, and that's what I learned most of what I could play on. But it was always fun to make songs that are so easy to play. When you distort them like that, it just
sounds great.
It sounds amazing, man.
Sounds great.
Yeah, when you play that on acoustic, it's not. Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it didn't do it for me.
Shoot, man. Even you can even make something like "Ode to Joy" sound good with enough distortion, man.
Yeah.
Like
let's do it.
Let's see. You put enough attitude on it, you can make anything sound good. But at the time, as a beginner, you don't know that. And I do think it's funny you say that because I think one of the biggest myths that is perpetuated in, I guess, the guitar space to parents or people first starting to learn guitar is you got to start on acoustic. Hard disagree.
Really?
Hard disagree. That's like, to me, that's like saying you got to bench 150 before you can bench 100. Because it's harder to play acoustic.
Yeah.
It's, the strings are tighter, they're bigger,
wears
they're
your
harder
fingers
to push
down quicker, your muscles,
And it's like some people, like I started on acoustic, and you can start on acoustic, right? You can, just like if you're a strong guy and you've never lifted in your life, you can lift 150 pounds.
Yeah.
Even if your technique is awful, Probably better to make sure you've got the technique right first, though.
Right.
And so I always tell my students, especially if they're smaller kids, if you try, some people, if your hands aren't strong already and you try to start on acoustic, it's going to be so miserable that you're almost guaranteed to quit.
Yeah, you're going to be cramping up in 30 minutes and you're done.
Yeah. Well, not just that, but just like
your calluses,
the callus, you're going to get blisters and it's I don't know why that is the prevailing wisdom is to start on acoustic. But electric is way easier to play. Yeah. Like I make this joke with Jen Janae, amazing local musician, in my opinion, best musician in Shreveport, because she's an incredible guitar player, incredible singer. She's just awesome. But she'll sometimes get me, like if I'm go catch one of her sets, her acoustic sets, she'll say, "Hey, come sit in with me." And I'm like, "You just want to embarrass me, Jen? My hands are too weak. I can't play acoustic, man. I can only play the electric." And because it's a whole different animal. And of course,
but the range is so much more vast on electric. Like,
you can do more types of music. The acoustic is nice because it is, once your hand's strong enough to play, literally all you have to think about is, are you playing?
I feel like you can't mask a fuck up on an acoustic either.
No.
You can mask it on electric. I've seen it a million times, but you can't mask it. Like, it's if you're experienced, maybe
you can get away with a little bit.
Yeah, but like, I mean, it's shining. You're gonna hear it.
It's harder to get away with for sure. But the nice thing, like, pros and cons, right? The nice thing about acoustic is if you don't want to spend 3 hours trying to dial in the perfect amp setting, you literally just pick the thing up and play it. Mm-hmm. With electric, like you were talking about a second ago, you have to get the perfect pedals and do this and do that. There is so much about playing electric that you have to know to sound good. That's not just playing guitar. And in that sense, it's harder to get all the tone and things exactly right on electric, but it's easier to play.
Yeah.
It's easier to sound like, if you have the technique, it's easier to get the tone right on acoustic because it's say, I mean, it changes a little bit based on exactly how you pick and stuff like that. But 90% of the people listening aren't going to notice those little nuances that, a professional guitar player would notice, or a skilled guitar player just in general. So it's either basically the acoustic, you're either playing a note or you're not. You either playing, the note's either ringing out or it isn't for 80% of what you play. Yeah. And that's kind of nice. It's pretty simple. And take it, sit with it at a campfire and strum your G, C, D, and you're good to go.
Yeah, dude. No, I've definitely seen that, but that makes sense, and it really does. I would see, because I'll go, like, I don't play at all hardly anymore, but I'll just pick it up and mess around, and I'm like, damn. I've lost my. And I would get frustrated because I'd get back into it really hard for 3 or 4 months, and then wouldn't touch it for 3 or 4 months and pick it back up. I'm like, son of a bitch, and it would take me a good couple weeks to get back to where I was at. You know what I mean? And then forget half of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do think it's something that I do. Like, I value people that know how to do the basics, but I think it's really something you can't ever put down.
Oh yeah, no. There's definitely a lot of truth to the whole, use it or lose it, right? You'll maintain a lot of, the muscle memory and the knowledge, but all of anything above just playing basic chords and strumming is probably going to go away if you don't practice it, So absolutely get that.
Well, dude, before we wrap this thing up, let's leave me with something. What do you want to play?
I'll leave you with something.
Your call.
My call. Let's see. Well, you were talking Metallica.
So hell yeah.
That's
no Piping Hot?
I can do Piping Hot, man. I take requests.
What's Piping Hot?
Piping Hot is one of my originals.
Okay, hell yeah.
One of my originals. So
let's do both. Let's do a little bit of both. A little bit of both.
All right.
Mashup. Oh shit.
Mashup.
Mashup.
Master of Puppets.
This is some engineering right here.
What key is Piping Hot in, and could you segue into a Metallica song?
If I try hard enough, I can segue anything. The question is, will it sound good on the first attempt?
Yes.
So we're
about to find out.
So, Piping Hot should really be on my strap, but it will be okay. So. Solo, why not? There you go.